Welcome to Mindful Moments. Imagine a religion promising unity, wholeness, even practical help for people on the margins. That was the pitch, wasn't it, for the Universal Humanitarian Church?
Absolutely. Noli Seymour was incredibly passionate about it, sold it as this progressive force, studying all sorts of holy books, looking for that common thread.
Oneness and wholeness. That
Mhm.
sounds, well, quite appealing on the surface. But you have to wonder, could there be something else going on beneath that?
It's always the case, isn't it? That search for understanding, for connection, it's powerful. But how groups actually do that? Well, that can vary wildly, sometimes not for the better.
Right. And digging into that, looking past the first glance, that's often where you find the real story, which is what our listeners want. I think getting to the heart of something complex, like the UHC,
Huh.
based on what we know. So let's start with why it looked good initially.
Well, the early picture, definitely shaped by Noli Seymour's perspective, and then Robin Ellicott's first visit, it seemed really positive. Seymour fiercely defended them, highlighted their charity work.
So the criticism was just plain wrong.
Exactly. And framed their mission as this really noble quest for universal truths. Very attractive framing.
And she really pushed the diversity angle, right?
Yeah.
This idea you could find wisdom everywhere, in all religions, very open, very welcoming, seemingly.
She even said some people come and just never leave. That stuck out.
Yeah. And Robin Ellicott, she wasn't looking to join, was she? Just curious.
Purely curiosity. That interview Noli gave about universality caught her attention. So she goes to a meeting.
And her clothes,
Yeah.
Valentino,
Um,
Armani,
yeah.
Gucci, definitely signaling outsider looking in.
It's a smart move, actually. That contrast highlights things maybe insiders don't see or have gotten used to. An observer from a totally different world.
So she walks in, feeling what, nervous but excited?
That's how it's described. And immediately she's met with this warmth, people beaming, saying hello.
That initial welcoming vibe, it's crucial for any group trying to grow. It makes you feel like you belong.
Definitely. And then there was a talk by Taya Weiss. Robin apparently found it so inspiring.
Ah, the charismatic speaker effect, that initial hit of inspiration.
It's a classic element, creates that emotional connection, that sense of community. Really powerful, especially if you're looking for something, some meaning.
Okay, so far so good. Warm welcomes, inspiring talks. But then we hear about Chapman Farm and re-indoctrination. That word just lands differently, doesn't it?
It really does. Re-indoctrination immediately signals a shift. It's not about open exploration anymore, is it? It's about enforcing a specific way of thinking. Kind of contradicts that whole diverse perspectives thing.
Totally. And what about their teachings on relationships? Normal families, monogamy,
Yeah.
described as materialist possessions. That's a huge departure from the norm.
It is. And this replacement idea, spirit bonding, supposedly deeper than family ties.
But what does that actually do to people?
Well, it effectively undermines their existing support networks, doesn't it? Makes them much more reliant on the UHC, on the group for belonging, loyalty, everything, really.
And the kids' education, just reading UHC tracks mostly.
Yeah, memorizing the doctrine. Apparently, someone named Louise was secretly teaching basics, like times tables.
Wow. So a really controlled information bubble. What are the long-term effects of that?
It severely limits critical thinking, isolates them from, well, the rest of the world and skills they'd actually need outside the church. It keeps them dependent.
Then there's that tiny detail.
Mm.
Robin noticed the teenage girl smiling at newcomers, but the smile just drops instantly.
It's fleeting, but it suggests maybe a performance. A gap between the happy face they're supposed to show and what's really going on inside. Pressure to conform, maybe?
And add to that the mention of hard labor at Chapman Farm. So controlled education, redefined family, hard work.
Mhm.
What's the emerging picture?
It starts to look like a high-control environment. The labor keeps people busy, physically and mentally drained. Less energy or opportunity to question things, right?
Makes sense. Then the news about Kevin Pierbright. He'd been blogging critically about the UAC, was planning to meet Strike and Robin, and then he dies.
Yeah. I mean, no direct proof of cause and effect is stated, but the timing is extremely unsettling. It sends a message, doesn't it, about the potential danger of speaking out.
It certainly chills things. Which leads us to Robin deciding to go deeper, actually go undercover at Chapman Farm.
Right, and that's where things get even stranger, these revelation sessions.
The drowned prophet manifestation. A five-sided pool just appearing from under a lid.
Pure spectacle. It's theater designed to create awe, reinforce the leader's mystical power, bypasses critical thought through sheer drama, making it feel deeply spiritual, even if it's, well, maybe just illusion.
And we meet the leaders properly. Mama Mazu, Mazu Weiss, and Jonathan Weiss, the founder. Those titles, Mama, they create a specific kind of hierarchy, don't they?
Yeah, a familial structure, but one where they are the ultimate parents demanding loyalty. And then there's the practical side, making and selling corn dollies.
For charitable projects, they said.
Right. It gives the members a task, a sense of purpose, reinforces the group identity, and brings in money for the church. Multi-purpose.
But then you get explanations like Zhang's. Spiritual growth means killing the false self. And he can't work with kids because of ego hits from materialist possession. That sounds convenient.
Very convenient. Abstract spiritual language can justify almost anything, can't it? False self is often code for suppressing individuality. And Zhang's restriction.
Well, the spiritual reason masks something potentially more concrete and worrying.
And Robin sees young women going into these retreat rooms, then coming out later, but it's all very hush-hush.
That secrecy is a huge red flag. In closed communities, hidden rooms or activities often conceal exploitation or abuse. Lack of transparency is always concerning.
They even pressure new recruits to write letters about why they joined, but they give them effective phrases to use.
Yeah, it's about controlling the narrative, making sure everyone sounds positive, convinced, it manages their public image, and stops real doubts from getting out.
And that letter from Rust Anderson, found after his death, expressing faith, hoping for revelation. It's quite sad, but also disturbing in context. It really shows how powerful that hope, that belief can be, how vulnerable people seeking connection are. The promise of something profound can keep people invested, even when things seem off.
Things definitely seem off. Niam calling Mazu a really big spider, saying kids were kept away from beatings, which implies beatings happened.
Right, and Abigail Glover's story claiming Dayu wasn't Weiss's child, the custody battle, her own experience of violence, being locked in a pigsty, it's horrific.
And Anne, Mazu's mother, just leaving her baby because she didn't like motherhood.
Yeah.
Giving birth at 14 at the commune, back when it was called Forgeman Farm, under the banner of free love.
It paints a picture of profoundly dysfunctional and potentially exploitative dynamics right from the start. It's getting harder and harder to square this with that initial shiny progressive image.
Definitely. You know, it really underscores the need to look deeper, to analyze the different layers of a story. It's like what we try to do at Mindful Moments in our podcast, our AI audiobook analysis channel, peeling back the layers to get at what's really being said or hidden.
Exactly. These accounts build a picture that's starkly different from the UHC's PR. It suggests control, deception, maybe serious abuse, all hidden by talk of enlightenment.
And the contradictions keep piling up. Emily Purbright saying Dayu didn't really drown, accusing Becca of lying. That points to cracks within the group itself.
Internal dissent, yeah. And then the absolutely blatant deception, the staged manifestation of the stolen prophet. Using a straw man, a fake shout. That's not spirituality, that's a magic trick.
A deliberate lie. And Flora Brewster seeing Deirdre Doherty's body after a supposed manifestation, while the church just claimed she was kicked out.
It suggests they're willing to lie about, well, potentially even death to protect their narrative and control.
And pulling the strings, seemingly, is Jonathan Weiss. His charisma keeps coming up. Good-looking, great speaker.
Uses the wireless mic effectively, moves around, connects with people, even has that self-deprecating smile down pat. It's all part of the performance.
A very effective performance. He could apparently whip up mass hysteria during services with these emotional displays.
And cleverly adapting that George Barker poem on a friend's escape from drowning, twisting it into the myth of their drowned prophet, it shows calculation.
He knows how to build a mythology, how to manipulate emotions and existing stories for his own ends.
Precisely. A master manipulator, it seems, using charisma and narrative control.
Which makes Robin's situation incredibly tense. Her journal entries show her piecing things together, getting suspicious.
And she makes mistakes, like accidentally responding to her real name. That slip-up increases the danger.
She witnesses Lynn, possibly trying to induce a miscarriage. The fear must have been immense.
Absolutely. Trying to maintain cover while uncovering potentially dangerous truths, knowing the leaders, Weiss and Mazu, are becoming suspicious of her. They start questioning her directly.
Yeah, grilling her about her actions, her beliefs. The walls are closing in.
It highlights the immense risk involved in infiltrating and exposing groups like this. Her commitment is admirable, but the peril is very real.
So listening to all this, we've gone from that initial, almost utopian promise of the Universal Humanitarian Church to a much darker, more complex reality. Control, deception, abuse allegations, all swirling around this drowned prophet narrative.
It really drives home the point, doesn't it? The need for critical thinking. Any group, no matter how progressive or benevolent it seems at first, deserves scrutiny. Facades can hide some very unpleasant truths.
Absolutely. So we hope this exploration has been insightful. If you found it thought-provoking, please do subscribe for more discussions like this and share it with others who might be interested. And if you want to explore the source material yourself, check out the link provided.
And maybe leave with this thought. Was the UHC's whole oneness and wholeness thing ever a genuine spiritual path? Or was it just a very sophisticated illusion built for power and control?
A chilling question, and makes you wonder, what other movements, maybe ones that seem positive today, might have similar hidden depths? Something to definitely think about.